Hello everybody, it's Joe Somebody here, and I wanted to make a video because I haven't made a video in such a long time. I mean, I have made a video. I made the one, where I was talking to my iPhone standing in the garage, but that's not really making a video. I'm talking about doing this, where I set up the camera and I talk and I throw my hands out like this and I have to edit and there's usually music in the background. It's a fantastic thing. So that's what I'm gonna do for you. I was kind of looking for a topic of what I wanted to make a video about, so I went to Facebook and I had like one reply so far, but I'm in a hurry. I'm antsy, and it was a good suggestion. The suggestion came from Tyler Smith, who wanted to know, what do you look for when you book a cruise besides price? Because everybody knows I'm broke. Because everybody knows I'm cheap. Because everybody knows I'm a budget cruiser. But there are other things that I look for in a cruise as well. For me, I would have to say one of the things that I look for the most is something new. This year makes cruise number 7 for me, and I want to make sure that I'm not doing the exact same thing on the exact same ship every time. There's something on the wing, something. Thus far, out of all the cruises I've taken, I've never been on the same ship more than once. So even though I've always sailed with Carnival, I've always been on a different ship, and I've usually gone to at least one new port. This year I'm actually doing the exact same itinerary that I did in 2011. It goes to Freeport, Nassau, and Half Moon Cay. So it seems a little repetitive, but at least it's on a different ship. I'm trying to systematically go through all of Carnival's ships so that I get to see each and every one and make a video about each and every one. Now that they're doing the Fun Ship 2.0 upgrades on the ships, a lot of them have changed since I was on them, so I may have to go back on them again. Rats. Another thing that's important to me whenever I'm looking at cruises is what class the ship is in. Everybody's got their preferences, but I really don't love the fantasy class ships. The first cruise I ever went on was on the Carnival Fantasy, which obviously is the fantasy class. In 2011 I went on the Carnival Fascination, which is also in the fantasy class. And as of late I've been thinking about going on the Carnival Sensation because people just keep telling me how great of a time that they had on it and that the service was fantastic. The reason that I tend to stay away from those smaller, older ships like that though is because they're smaller and older. There are less activities and less fun things on the ship. In the dining room on the Carnival Fascination in 2011, we were sitting around a table where there was like, I don't know, maybe 4 couples sitting around the table, elbow to elbow. And the dining room was 1 story, so I could stand up and touch the ceiling pretty much with ease. I wouldn't consider myself a person that normally gets claustrophobic, but man, I did not feel comfortable in there. I felt hot. I felt, I don't know if it was anxiety or claustrophobia or what it was, but I just, we attempted to eat in the dining room one time, and I got up and left before my food even came, and I didn't go back. We ate every other meal in the Lido restaurant. So even though we still enjoyed the cruise on the Carnival Fascination, I've just kind of learned that I like the bigger ships. I like the fact that there's more activities. The pools are a little bit bigger, there's usually more hot tubs, and the dining room is 2 stories. The air circulates better, and there's more seating available, and you're less likely to be sitting in such cramped quarters with people. That being said, there's nothing wrong with those ships. I know that a lot of people say, hey, we have a far better time when we're on the smaller ships, and I've been telling my wife for years that bigger's not necessarily better. But with cruise ships, for me, I do prefer the bigger ones. Another thing that we always consider when we're booking our cruise is where it leaves from and how expensive or difficult it's going to be to get to and return from the port. So far I've left from Jacksonville, Port Canaveral, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and I think that's all. Also within driving distance though would be New Orleans and Tampa and Charleston, and possibly Norfolk, Virginia. But for all of our cruises so far, we've tried to leave from somewhere that was within driving distance. Everybody's always telling me flying is not that expensive, but whenever I look, it seems very expensive. So much so that it adds like $600 or $700 onto the price of the cruise, so we just haven't done it so far. But I do have to admit that pretty soon I want to go see some other stuff, the Mexican Riviera. I want to go to some different places away from the Caribbean, away from the Bahamas, and possibly Hawaii and Alaska, so we're going to have to do some flying. But that is something very important to consider. For instance, when we went down to Miami, not only was it a long drive, and you've got gas to consider, and tolls, tons of toll plazas where you have to pay, but you know, it was such a long drive that we needed to stay a night in a hotel room on the way down there so we could wake up the next morning and finish the drive. So, you know, it's just budgetarily things that you need to keep in mind. Now, it's a lot easier to hammer a lot of these things out with your Carnival personal vacation planner. Again, I want to do a shout out for my friend Deandra Sosa, who's always a fantastic person to work with. She's very knowledgeable about everything and always, you know, sets us up in the right direction. And I'm sure travel agents could also give you a lot of information about, you know, kind of the best rates or things that match up with the criteria that you're looking for. So yeah, to recap basically what I was talking about, for me personally, things I look at besides the price is it a ship I've been on before? What class of ship, what ports of call does it go to, and preferably goes to at least one I haven't been to or one that I thoroughly enjoyed. Number 4 would be the distance to the port that it actually leaves from, so that, you know, you can calculate all your extra expenses. And of course number 5 would probably be the duration of the trip, because I have a hard time getting a babysitter for a long period of time. We try to keep it right now down to about a 5-day, 6-day type thing. I love 7 days. I've never been on one longer than 7 days. But, you know, arranging babysitters for that length of time, and me and my wife both working, trying to take off, it's really just not that easy. So that does it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and follow me on Facebook. That way you can keep up with everything that I'm doing. And also, you know, I've got another cruise coming up. I will be sailing on the Carnival Valor, headed back to the Bahamas for a 5-day cruise. So I'm hoping I can do tons of footage for you guys. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Joe Somebody, and I will see you in the next video, which may or may not be a cruise video, depending on how lazy I am and how much things you guys can think of that you might want to watch me talk about. Love you, bye!